Hi, Bev here. Can you believe we're already on week 4 of the Simply for Women series? Look at this, the sun's come out. Fantastic, at long last. If you've been following, you'll know that I've been creating a library of resources. So I've designed these to support women to make more of an impact in their careers, their businesses, and in their lives in general. And each week, I've got a topic that's been submitted by someone from my wonderful network of women. And I asked them to do this to tell me what obstacles they had to overcome as women that they don't think they'd have to face as men. And the idea is that I could then share them with you. So far, we've covered ways to get your ideas heard at work, how to deal with being told to smile, and how to build your tribe if you feel isolated at work. This one was submitted by a fabulous Scottish friend of mine, and I've actually learned a new word as a result. So she said that the obstacle she faces most is a lack of self-belief in that I need to be sure I can do a good job before I undertake a job or a task. She said, I think most men don't even think about this. They just bringe in and apply or undertake work without giving it a second thought. So if, like me, you didn't know what the word bringe means, this is the definition I found after I Googled it. Bringe. To rush forward recklessly or carelessly, to plunge, to make a violent effort. Who shared this? Well, she's also an incredibly successful woman. She's the deputy head of a large organisation, and she's actually just been headhunted for a position that will make her one of the most influential people in her field. But yet again, she still suffers from a lack of belief, just like the rest of us. So a lack of self-belief, its impact and what you can do about it. Well, this features in the workshops that I run, and it always generates discussion. And I think that's because it resonates so strongly with us as women. So why do we as women in general suffer from a greater lack of self-belief than men? What sort of impact can it have on our lives? And perhaps more importantly, what can we do about it? So let's start thinking about the ways in which we as girls were often raised differently to boys. So the toys and games that we were given. Now they were much more likely to encourage gentle, caring, nurturing, safe play, whilst boys were given toys and games that were designed to test and challenge them physically, mentally, and often competitively. Boys were praised for taking risks, for their strength and winning, whilst girls were often praised for being kind and supportive of others. And the outcome of all that is that boys have a higher expectation of winning or being successful at something than girls do. So the BBC demonstrated this perfectly in a really good series, No More Boys and No More Girls, where they had a number of different experiments and tests with a class of 7-year-olds. The children were asked how they thought they would perform at a game of strength. And this game involved hitting a target with a hammer, and the harder you hit, the higher the score. And if you hit the target hard enough, a bell would ring. Well, almost without exception, the boys predicted that they would make the bell ring, and the girls thought that they'd only get a really low score. But what was surprising was that the truth is that at 7 years old, girls and boys have exactly the same body strength. The boys believed they could do it, and the girls didn't. The impact of not believing you can do something is that we close the doors on ourselves before we've even started. For example, there have been numerous studies that show when applying for job vacancies, typically, and I say typically because it's not true in all cases, but typically a man will scan the criteria of job, and if he feels he meets 20% of what's being asked for, he'll apply, and he'll just he can wing it or sell himself at interview. Whereas a woman will typically not apply for a job role unless she believes she meets 100% of the criteria. Now, I've hired people and I've sat with people from HR departments, and I know that often when you're putting together a job ad, you put together like standard criteria that's not really crucial for the role. It's just a nice to have. And more than once now, I've persuaded women that I know who didn't think that they met the criteria for a job to give it a go. And once they'd done that, they said even though it was a job they really wanted, they wouldn't have applied before the conversation. And you know what? they got the job. And there are so many women sat out there in jobs today who are working below their potential, and all because they didn't think that they met 100% of the criteria for the job that they really want. And we wonder why we got a gender pay gap. So what can we do? Well, number one, we need to rid ourselves of these self-limited beliefs that we've had since childhood. They no longer serve us and we no longer need them. Two, you need to stop focusing on the things that you can't do and start promoting what you do really, really well. And when an opportunity arises to do something new or different, put your hands up. We learn by doing. That's how we increase our skill set. So a while ago, I was offered the opportunity to cycle across the Government Gate Bridge. And the old me, well, I've said no thanks, because I never learnt to ride a bike as a child. The new me booked some lessons, and learnt how. And lastly for today, I'd love you to make a commitment to yourself to start taking steps outside of your comfort zone. Just baby steps, something new and different every day. And before long, you'll just be bringing your way on in to a new and exciting world of opportunities. So if you've missed the previous hints and tips, well, you can find them on my website. The address is all the W's, changebaitsimple.org.uk/simply for women. Don't worry if you didn't catch that, because there's a link above this post. There's no charge, because this is all about sharing what we know to help one another. If you want to leave your details, I'll make sure that I keep you updated, and then as soon as anything new is added, I'll send it across via email to you. And you know what? If you've got hints and tips that you'd be happy to share with other women, then please add them to the comments below, or you can send me a message via the website. Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for joining me. See you soon. Bye for now.